right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
A presidential election plunged into frightening new territory after the assassination attempt on former President Trump shakes the nation. Tonight, we'll examine what happened, its impact on the race, and what it means for America's democratic process.
You could see there was blood, and there was blood on one of the Secret Service.
Plus, a chilling first-hand account of the shooting from 2 local women who were there.
A weather impact alert continues Monday for heat and humidity, plus a timeout storm chances, and then a big cool down.
But first, a man walks into a Bell Fountain church and opens fire.
All I could do was remember my training for active shooters.
Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Tonight, police are still looking for the gunman who shot at a security guard inside a North St. Louis County church. Fortunately, no one was hurt. As 5 on Your Side's Robert Townsend explains, police and the church's pastor quickly sprung into action.
I want you to go on further.
1 hour after he started preaching his Sunday sermon at Grace New Covenant Church in North St. Louis County, Pastor Tommy Harsley suddenly brought his message to an end.
We're going to pray right now. We have a word that there's been a shooting in the other building.
Police say at 11:57 a.m., gunshots rang out just down the street inside Grace New Covenant's Outreach Ministry Center on Chambers Road in Bell Fountain neighbor.
Approximately 11:58, our officers were on scene.
Police say a man shot a security guard inside the building as members of Brothers and Sisters Christ Fellowship Church were having service. For the past year and a half, the congregation has rented this building from Grace New Covenant. About 40 members, including lots of children, were inside at the time of the shooting.
The suspect was already present at the church when the victim walked in, and then he came back and confronted the victim.
Police say the suspect then fired at the security guard. The guard returned fire. We're told the 2 men are members of Brothers and Sisters in Christ Fellowship Church, and police call them extended family members. Police tell us this security camera you see right here actually caught the suspect on video as he walked through the church's front door with a handgun.
If I can get everybody safe, I'll be okay.
A startled Pastor Ernest Howard, grateful nobody was hurt, he quickly told his members to take cover.
All I could do was remember my training for active shooters, because our church has been trained for that, to make sure everybody shut the doors off, get down in the back, and we need peace among ourselves.
Robert Townsend, 5 on Your Side.
Tonight, there are calls for unity after the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The investigation now focused on the deceased 20-year-old suspect, and many are calling yesterday's incident a failure by Secret Service. Our report tonight from NBC's Jay Gray.
His face bloody, fist raised.
Let me get my shoes on.
Former President Trump rushed from the stage after an assassination attempt. Chaos and panic. Now, a full day later, giving way to prayers and calls for unity. Mr. Trump writing on social media, "In this moment, it is more important than ever that we stand united and show our true character as Americans." A message echoed by President Biden.
You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that.
The former president traveling to Milwaukee this afternoon ahead of the Republican National Convention as dual investigations intensify. The FBI focused on the alleged shooter, 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks. Agents saying he was armed with a semi-automatic rifle registered to his father and that explosive materials have been identified inside his car and home. While Homeland Security agents tried to determine how it could have happened, how a rooftop less than 150 yards from the rally was left open and accessible.
Coverage of this building and the roof was built in to the overall security plan, and coverage fell through the cracks, which means nobody ensured that coverage was actually in place, or it wasn't built into the overall plan at all.
We're also learning more about a firefighter in the crowd, Corey Comparator, killed in the crossfire. A husband and father of 2 young girls.
Corey died a hero. That Corey dove on his family to protect them last night.
2 others in the crowd were wounded and remain in the hospital tonight, their conditions upgraded from critical to stable. Jay Gray, NBC News, Butler, Pennsylvania.
Multiple people from our area attended the Trump rally, including a mother and daughter. They sat just 8 rows back from the podium where former President Trump was speaking. 5 on Your Side's Mercedes McKay followed their terrifying experience as they still try to absorb what happened.
I've come to tears a couple times, but it's so overwhelming.
Lynn Piwowarczyk and her daughter Dee Piwowarczyk Gilmore were among the thousands spending hours in the Pennsylvania heat to show their support for former President Donald Trump.
From 10 until 1, we stood just in lines, like they cattle herd you in. And then we went through Secret Service. They wand us and we went through the metal detectors.
Just 8 rows behind the podium, the mother and daughter duo were anxious to hear from the former president when the unthinkable happened.
He was speaking for less than 10 minutes when all this happened. And when it first happened, it was really a light sound.
While many questioned the noise at first, Lynn said it didn't take them long to realize someone tried to shoot Trump.
We could see there was blood, and there was blood on one of the Secret Service. And so we knew he had gotten hit.
Dee describing the terrifying moments as instant chaos.
You could see them rushing Trump off the stage, and then the Secret Service started yelling at us, "Get down, get down, get down." So everybody got back down.
This is video Dee shot of them escorting the former president out of the rally. In an NBC and AP footage, Lynn can be seen in the background, her husband seeing it for himself on TV and asking why she wasn't ducking down.
There were people laying where our feet go, and, we were crowded in there. So I had the gentleman next to me laying on the ground. I had the lady next to me laying on the ground. I said there was nowhere for me to lay.
Nearly 24 hours later, both women still trying to wrap their heads around this moment in history, a moment they still haven't quite processed.
I don't think we've absorbed all of what has happened.
Mercedes McKay, 5 on Your Side.
And both women will be heading back to St. Louis tomorrow. Tonight, a local doctor who treats bullet-related injuries is warning the community about the trauma that can impact people who were at the rally and even those who weren't. 5 on Your Side's Annie Krall continues our team coverage from the newsroom. Annie?
Mike, Dr. L.J. Punch has treated patients in trauma centers for years, moving to the St. Louis area after the Ferguson unrest in 2014. Now, on Washington University's faculty, Dr. Punch unpacked with me how those who were shot yesterday at Trump's rally aren't the only ones going to be left with scars. Trauma surgeon Dr. L.J. Punch is the executive director of Power for STL, a local nonprofit focused on gun-related harm reduction, seeing the assassination attempt of former President Trump. Dr. Punch thought
that an entire nation watched a former president have their life threatened. And I knew that that would mean an outbreak of bullet-related injury and broken trust.
Bullet-related injuries are the physical, emotional, and social impact on a person shot or those they love. Authorities say one rally attendee was killed, 2 spectators critically injured Saturday. Trump's right ear pierced by a bullet. Dr. Punch says physical injuries tend to get worse, not better, over the first few days.
And that is because of the body's inflammation. In the act of trying to heal the wound, there can be increased tenderness, increased drainage, and then the scarring kicks in that can also increase nerve-related pain.
And you used the word trauma before. How traumatic is this for the American people in the sense of what can manifest, effects, side effects of seeing a world that we now live in?
When you have trauma, it's not like having any other illness. It changes the way you eat, sleep, move, and think. It can be difficult to rest. It can be difficult to enjoy the day-to-day things you normally would. But most of all, it can be difficult to believe that the people around you are people who love you.
Inspiring efforts at the Bullet-Related Injury Clinic, or BRIC, near Delmar and Union Boulevard, a holistic treatment approach through therapy, anatomical care, and spiritual guidance. Dr. Punch asked people in the St. Louis area to not have this assassination attempt inflame tensions, rather to use it as a time to check in on one another, since it may trigger past trauma if someone has lost a loved one or been impacted by gun violence. Mike?
And stay up to date with 5 on Your Side for the latest information on the attempted assassination. Much more coming up, including a look ahead to the Republican National Convention. You can find us on air, on KSDK.com, and on the 5+ app. Well, with the heat index well over 100 degrees today and tomorrow, we're in a weather impact alert Meteorologist Jim Castillo is here with details on this blistering heat. Jim?
Yeah, Mike. So today's high 96, tomorrow about 100. And the problem with it is that dew point is in the lower 70s. So we're going to see these numbers by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Heat plus humidity up to 110. So you get the idea. You need to stay cool, stay hydrated here all the way through 8 p.m. on Monday. And again, heat affects everyone that doesn't have effective cooling going on, whether you're in the water or whether you find an air-conditioned spot to hang out in. Again, that heat advisory until 8 p.m. on Monday. It's 87 right now in St. Louis, probably a low of 80 degrees by tomorrow morning. South wind at 11 miles an hour. And then we had a couple surprise pop-up little showers in here today. Even a viewer in House Springs reported a sprinkle. Nothing big, but we'll talk about when we have a good chance of showers and storms and then a big cool down coming up.
Presidential protection. A local security expert breaks down the response of the Secret Service at the Trump rally. And political analyst Anita Mannion shares some insight on what this assassination attempt means for the November election. Tonight, a St. Louis-based security professional trained by the Secret Service is weighing in on the attempted assassination of the former president. He tells 5 on Your Side's Travis Cummings while the men and women on the ground successfully protected the former president, there was more to the mission.
Look what happened. But he turned his head and the bullet just caught his ear. He was very, very lucky. God was with him that day.
With former President Donald Trump in safe hands this Sunday, questions loom over his attempted assassination on Saturday. A gunman fired multiple shots from an AR-style rifle at the presidential candidate from an elevated position outside the rally venue.
You wonder about what they call an advance team. The advance team gets out there long before, and they do a threat assessment of the complete area. Why the rooftop of this particular building was not covered seems to be in question.
Michael Barberi has worked in executive protection in third world countries for nearly 25 years with training from the Secret Service charged with saving Trump's life. As the FBI opens an investigation into why the 20-year-old shooter was able to get so close.
They said they were using advanced technology. Well, if they're using advanced technology, drones are obviously advanced technology. Helicopters are, normally pretty standard technology when you're looking at a crowd of thousands of people. So that's the question I think you're going to see a lot of.
Large crowds are expected to attend both the upcoming Republican National Convention and the Democratic National Convention. So as campaigns ramp up and conventions get underway.
Oh, I'm sure they're going to beef up all the security for everybody, including President Biden.
Barberi has a word for the public planning to be there.
You're in a crowd. You're always looking for unusual things. People that are walking around with coats on when you don't need to have a coat. People have their hands in their pockets. But when you start to hear the shots ring out, the first thing you really truly need to do is hit the ground.
Travis Cummings, 5 on Your Side.
The Republican National Convention kicks off tomorrow. It is still expected to go on as planned, but heightened security can already be seen around the venue. That'll attract tens of thousands of people. Former President Trump already made his way to Milwaukee this afternoon. The Secret Service says it's fully prepared to ensure the convention will be safe.
So we are confident in these security plans that are in place for this event, and we're ready to go. It's been an 18-month process. We've worked together over that 18 months to develop operational security plans for any and all aspects of security related to this event. We're not anticipating any changes to our operational security plans for this event.
The convention runs through Thursday. Stay with 5 on Your Side for the latest news from the Republican National Convention all this week. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, will report live from Milwaukee. You can look for his daily reports on 5 on Your Side at 5 and 6 and 10. Jim Castillo rejoins us now with more on this weather impact alert. It is going to be hot tomorrow, Jim.
It sure is, Mike. Even right now, there feels like temperature more like 90. Even Greenville, Illinois feels like 92. St. Charles right now feels like 92. It's 87 at Lambert, feels like 94, and that high today 96. Tomorrow about 100, and that overnight low tonight about 80. So here's this dome of high pressure in the west here, and it's it's slowly nudging our way, and that's why we have that heat advisory through 8 p.m. tomorrow. On the periphery of this high, you get this thunderstorm activity. So Chicago getting hit hard tonight with severe weather, a watch in effect there until 1 a.m. And for us, eventually, a cold front heads our way, and we'll have a good chance of showers and storms in here by Tuesday night, early Wednesday. Right now, a little disturbance coming through tonight. You might have had a real quick sprinkle. We've had a few reports of that, but not many. And that'll move out of here, and then we're mostly clear. Here's that heat advisory. It's widespread, dangerous heat. Heat indices as high as about 110, and the actual air temperature about 95 at 1, 98 at 3, and 99 at 5 o'clock. And so that real field temperature at 4 o'clock, 110 Crystal City, 108 St. Louis, gives you an idea of how hot it's going to be, and for hours upon hours. So you need air conditioning, you need to stay hydrated, stay cool, and we are going to get some big relief. Here comes a cold front as we approach late in the day Tuesday. Showers and storms will move in here, and so we're not expecting Tuesday to be as hot. Still hot and humid, 94 for that high before that cloud cover moves in and that shower and thunderstorm activity. Some could be strong. The potential's there for maybe some flash flooding also if we get some training, showers and storms moving over the same area all the way through Wednesday morning. And it does look like we start to clear as we get into late Wednesday and Wednesday night. And then Thursday looks very nice. You'll see that in the 7-day forecast coming up. Chicago, the bullseye, main threat for tonight and tomorrow. And then for us, we have a marginal risk of severe weather in the area as we get into late Tuesday and early on Wednesday. So something we'll keep our eyes on for you. All right, 7-day forecast. Look at that, 100. It's a weather impact alert day because of that heat and humidity. It's steamy. 94 for Tuesday, 85 for Wednesday. There's that cooler air and that rain chance Tuesday into Wednesday. But look how beautiful it is. Thursday, 82, 83 Friday. It's mostly sunny. And you know, the dew point drops down to about 58, 59 for Friday. That's incredible. 84 for Saturday and 85 as we get into Sunday. So a nice stretch of weather might coming our way.
Something to look forward to. Jim, thanks. The focus of the presidential race shifts as political violence moves front and center. Political analyst Anita Mannion weighs in on what it means as we get closer to November's election. We continue our coverage of the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump with some insight on how it may impact the election. And joining me now is 5 on Your Side political editor Anita Mannion. So how does this shift the message of the presidential race?
Yeah, if you notice, all we've been talking about since the debate is the Democratic side. Will Joe Biden be kicked out? Who might replace him? What might that look like? The contention and chaos on that side. Now, there's nothing about that. It's all about former President Trump. Why did this happen? Can we come together as a country? Pointing fingers, all of these issues. So it's all about this right now.
Does it change the tenor of the presidential race going forward? Do you think it will be a different tenor than we've seen so far?
I would like to say yes, Mike. I'd like to say we're going to come together as we do in times of crisis. And in the immediate aftermath, we've seen a lot of calls for support for President Trump and his family, the victims. Unity, yes, yeah. From both Biden and Trump. There's a phone call, but I suspect that will be short-lived. We'll know next week to see if how the messaging is at the convention.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. What do you suspect the convention will look like compared to what it was going to look like before the shooting?
I think this terrible incident actually does fall into a narrative that Trump and his supporters already see, which is that he is a victim, that people target him and his supporters. And so they're likely to play into that and use this to say he's a fighter, he's fighting for you, he's strong, he's what this country needs right now.
Anita, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Tonight after Sports Plus, catch a special episode of The Record with Mark Maxwell. He and PBS 9's Ruth Ezell moderated a debate between Missouri's Democratic gubernatorial candidates right here on 5 on Your Side. That's coming up at 11 o'clock, and we'll be right back. We want you to be ready for tomorrow, so Jim's back with more on our weather impact alert.
And Mike, it's for that heat and humidity, dangerous heat headed our way, and the heat indices as high as 110 tomorrow afternoon. So until 8 p.m. on Monday is when we have that heat advisory. And of course, if you find a way to cool off, whether that get in the swimming pool or air conditioning, and hope you have air conditioning. If not, try to find it in a store. So again, one day of that, and these numbers are going to be really high, probably for hours in the afternoon, and then really doesn't cool off until after 8 p.m.
And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10.